Well, hello there, how are you doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a pick a card reading which is going to be about exciting, uplifting messages from our higher self. I felt that in the collective right now there's a bit of tension going on, a bit of confusion. A lot of us are stepping into the unknown. And yeah, just checkpoint so as to tune into our higher selves and notice how much they're encouraging us, how much they're behind us, and how proud they are of our journeys. So yeah, that's something I want to be exploring through this reading. If that's something you're also interested in today, well, grab a seat, make yourself comfortable, make yourself at home. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like it and subscribe so you don't miss out when I post new videos like so, and it also happens to support me tremendously. That being said, let's get right into it. Okay, as you may be able to tell, today we are going to have 3 groups to be choosing from. So yeah, I'm gonna be asking you to be tuning into your intuition so as to feel into which pile you feel the most drawn to. Maybe the number of the pile, maybe the crystal, which I'm going to be presenting shortly. Know that if you're feeling drawn to more than one pile, that's totally fine. It may simply mean and indicate that there are messages for you contained in more than one pile. Perhaps there's a lot that your higher self wants to tell you right now. So just trusting your intuition on this one. For pile number 1, we're going to be having the Hematite right here. Protection stone. For pile number 2, it's the blood jasper. And pile number 3, beautiful Labradorite here. There you go. So yeah, these are our 3 groups, our 3 piles. Once you've made your choice, you can fast forward directly to the timestamps provided down below, either in the description box or the pinned comment, so that you can fast forward directly to your timestamp. And yeah, I'm gonna be seeing you there then. Hey pal number 1, how are you doing? You're up on stage. I hope you're doing great. I hope you're comfortably lying or sitting or whatever. If pile 1, if you chose the Hematite, that's gonna be your reading. So let's get right into it. Okay, so straight off the bat, it's a little bit like out of the reading with something I wanna mention. Today my throat channel is very janked up, so if you hear me stuttering, don't freak out. Yes, today I'm stuttering, so I'm gonna make it so that it's not too obvious, but yeah, if you hear me stutter or catch myself like mid-sentence, that's why. Now, that being said, disclaimer apart, group number 1, pile number 1, what do we have here? What messages can we be having on behalf of your higher self? There you go. And immediately straight off the bat, I'm getting a real strong spiritual energy and such a compassionate energy that is beautiful. Okay, higher selves. What can we have for pile number 1? Got the Page of Swords. Yeah, I already get a bit of a feeling of a situation for pile number 1, but I'm still gonna draw the cards first. Yep. Okay, pile number 1. What do your higher self wants to mention? Yeah. 6 of Cups. I'm pretty sure I know where it's heading. Yup. 10 of Wands. There's so much compassion, so much pride coming through, and I love that. I love it really. Do I take this one? Yes, and I feel like we're gonna stay with 4 cards because the message is wanting to be channeled rather than read. So let me just sip a little bit of water before we start. Yeah, there's a huge emphasis on just channeling instead of just reading. That may also be related to the fact that my throat is a little janked up. We're gonna see. But yeah, I'm definitely picking up on the... It's like while I was like shuffling the oracle cards for the piles, already started feeling that pile number one, that we would have very different messages for these three piles, but pile number one would probably be my pile who's been going through a little bit lately, because it just feels like currently you're very focused onto yourself, that you're very focused onto what's going on internally, your internal world. There's definitely this feeling of detachment, very much hermit card. We don't have the hermit here, but I feel that the reason why would be it's pretty obvious. It feels very detached on your behalf, as in things have happened that made you realize that the most valuable and precious thing that you were currently seeking was within you, that you've been chasing and focusing lately more on your inner states, just you feeling a certain way, rather than achieving or getting something. Although I feel like the two don't have to just be mutually exclusive at all. I just feel like the focus was mainly put onto helping yourself into feeling a certain way, feeling better. And I feel that the biggest reason for that is that you've been going through quite challenging times, which have just shined the light on something within you that made you realize that, first of all, what you're feeling is not related to what's going on outside. What's going on outside is just a trigger, is just a mirror. And second of all, you want to feel good no matter what's happening outside. It's very much this profound, mature realization I'm hearing that the power resides within your hands, and the way you feel is up to you to choose. It's a very mature way to own responsibility for your inner world, I have to admit. And your higher self wants you to notice that no, we are not at a stage in which our species is aware and mature to the fact that they realize that the way they feel is intrinsically related to how they choose to keep their internal world, not because of what you got within your hands or what you've achieved. These things are beautiful, but they're not. But there is no power in that. There is no power in thinking that it's because of that thing which is happening outside of you that you are feeling this certain way. Emotions are just a response, and you get to choose it. Otherwise, you're just displacing your power, and you are aware of that. Which, again, kudos, because that's not something that is very common knowledge, common wisdom nowadays. But back to the cards that we have, like Page of Swords is definitely making me feel that, yes, there is this new zest of this new direction, this new desire that have sprung within you of, I'm gonna choose myself, I'm gonna choose to focus onto the best version of myself, I'm hearing. Which is very beautiful. And I feel that it's not an easy choice for you to make, because I feel like your environment is not necessarily all that aligned with that, in the sense that the people you got around you may not be following you on that journey, may not have been following you on that journey, because I feel like that's not recent. But there's definitely this feeling of, I'm gonna cut through the brambles, I'm gonna rise into the best version of myself, although this best version of myself, this happiest version, this most loving, this calmest, this safest, this most secure version of myself, the way that I want to feel, yet again, may not be a match at all to my current circumstances. So there is this tension which has been going on, and I wouldn't be surprised if your life is like, you know, that it's not an understanding, it's just a knowing with all of your body that this is the right thing for you to be doing right now. Yes, focusing onto yourself is the thing which is going right now to be opening the most amount of doors, and which will pay off the absolute most. That's why you can feel that all the energies currently are aligned in this direction for you, because it is the most aligned way for you. But you can also feel that this most aligned way for you is far from appearing to be the most aligned way for everything which is around you. And so I definitely feel this idea of triggering people around you and just feeling antagonized and just shit hitting the fan as a general. Because yet again, you're rising from an environment where all the environment were like brambles and you're rising above it, and now the brambles are trying to just bring you back down. I was like, where are you going? Come back here. And you're like, I don't want to. I already know what's there. I already know what to expect in brambles. Pain, blood. It's not fun to be living in the middle of brambles. And so I don't want that for myself anymore. But there is yet again this very Page of Swords is very clear thinking, especially when we hit the court cards in the sword suit in tarot. It's like there is clear thinking. There's this understanding that the way you keep your inner world is what will open all the doors. Sounds stupid to the environment. Yeah, the brambles don't get that, but you have this knowing, and it's very much. It feels like a side message, but it needs to be said. It's like you have no idea how much pride there is in on the other side, on behalf of your higher self, on behalf of all of the spirits and ancestors. I feel like there are some of your ancestors on this call as well, some people which have passed away, perhaps recently, perhaps not, of your family, more distant relatives. It's like there's so much pride in you opening up to receiving and realizing the knowing of where the power actually lies. Which has been an ongoing theme of this year, by the way. But it's like you awakening to where is your power. Something that I feel like you've been looking for your entire life. I feel powerless to what's happening. I feel powerless to this, to that. And it's like finally you've got an answer. It's like, no, the power, the control, the power is a byproduct of awareness. You know when they say knowledge is power? Well, awareness is power. Knowledge is just, we're still only in the mind. But the idea is there. It's like when you see with the light of awareness, you know, you understand, and as such, a byproduct, natural byproduct, that you don't even have to think about it, is that you have control and you have power in the situation. And you're realizing that all that power is just waiting for you to be re-owned when you shine the light of your awareness onto your inner world. And I know that this isn't something that makes sense and that some of you, Padawan, are still trying to understand it, but all of you already know this. That's why you fell into this pile. It's like you have awakened to this reality, yet you can struggle and try to push things as much as you want. The power doesn't reside in what's outside of you. You don't control what's outside of you, and it's better this way. You don't control what people say and how things go, but you do control what's going on within. And when you do control your inner experience, then you watch the magic unfold. And that is very much like, this card to me is very much like this epiphany, this awakening, this realization moment. And now it feels like for a while, you've been in this stage of clearing out then what's inside. Now that we understand where the power lies for us, again, I don't want this conversation to be taken out of context, because I feel like, like the best tip for you right now is to keep on focusing on your inner world. That's not necessarily the best advice to everybody, but right now for you, somehow this message itself is very relevant for you to understand that what is the most beneficial to you isn't necessarily the most beneficial to others, and vice versa. It's not because someone else says their truth that means that it's yours as well. That needed to come through. Somehow it's very relevant for some of you. But yeah, it's this idea. I don't even know what I was saying before that. What was I saying? I don't know. Well, yeah, that's this idea of like, there's so much pride in seeing you opening up your eyes. Oh, there you go. And just the fact that, yeah, lately it felt rough because you've been clearing out and purging a lot of the stuff, stagnant stuff, and feels like spring's cleaning, honestly. Like, there is a lot of stuff in our inner world that needed attention, that still needs attention, and you're putting in the work. And that is like the most important work that you could be focusing yourself onto at this moment. And I just feel like there is so much pride from the angels and the spirits walking along your side and your higher self naturally in knowing that you're doing the right thing for yourself. Even if it feels challenging, even if there are a lot of funky emotions, even if our environments doesn't seem right now very aligned with that, it's like there's so much pride in you constantly showing up again and again and again to that. Yeah, that is beautiful. The Six of Cups is definitely, like, to me, is quite explicitly like coming back to who we used to be before we were told who we were. Six of Cups here just screams out for like inner child. And it's, to me, here is very much like the idea of you coming back to the most authentic version of yourself. Like, who are you without the fear, without the guilt, without the shame, without the lies, without the illusions, without the attachments, without the grief? Who are you without all of these emotions layered on top of it? That's the homecoming that you're currently experiencing. And that itself is a message as well, is like, I feel like a lot of you Padawan who are currently going through this process are like, I don't even fluffing know why I'm doing it. I just know that I need to be doing it. There's just something in me that tells me that it's the right path for me right now. Although it's very confusing, although I'm scared and I'm frustrated and I'm in pain and I just want to cry. It's like, and I feel like a freaking mess and everything. You know it's the right thing to do, but that's the reason. It's like that which you may not be realizing, besides all the doors opening, which we're coming to after, is just you coming back to who you actually are. And that in itself is the gift, the blessing of bliss. You know what heavens on earth is? Well, you're gonna find out pretty quickly. That's very much the message I'm receiving. It's like you're coming back home, honey. And that is so precious. That is something that most of us may not even get to experience in this lifetime. So yeah, that has no value for how precious it is. And that's very much why this is happening. So it's beautiful. There's very much the energy of keep going. You got this, really. 10 of Wands, there's been a lot of feelings related to being overwhelmed. And I'm associating that to your external reality, just feeling like things aren't working your way. And you know, we say surrender to the divine, surrender to God, surrender to this, surrender to that. It's like, yeah, that's true ultimately, but when shit's hitting the fan, that's not your immediate first reaction that you would typically have. And it's very much, I really get this feeling of just, it feels like shit hits the fan and everything falls apart, but it doesn't get any better. And so there is this feeling of being overwhelmed of, I need to do something, I need to somehow patch the holes in the bow because the boat's sinking. And yeah, it's like, how do we put it into words? It's like, it's the end of the burden. It's the end of the overwhelming. Because you will soon realize that the reason to why you feel so overwhelmed, the reason to why you feel so stressed out, and the reason to why you feel like everything's out of control and shit's hitting the fan all the time and that you can't really relax, is related to what's going on within. Perhaps some of you already see it, perhaps some of you will see it shortly, but may not be realizing it right now. It's like these feelings that we feel are projected onto our circumstances. We feel like it's because of what's happening that we feel this way. We feel so stressed out because things are not necessarily going the way we would prefer them. I feel like most of you probably are in a situation like that. Things are not going the way we prefer them, and it's taking its sweet, sweet time for the tables to turn. And in the meanwhile, we're just stressed out. And I feel like, yet again, you will either you already see it or you will realize that the reason to why it's happening is that it's greatly serving you onto your current mission, which is purging out all the mess which doesn't belong to you, I'm hearing, which is stuck within. All the things which you've been holding on to, understandably, well, it's time to let them go. And what's happening outside is very much helping you and assisting you into triggering all of these awful feelings out. so as for them to be released. So don't be too upset. better I mean, yeah, better to hear, another thing to apply. But the message you need to hear is, don't be too upset at why things are not going your way. Things are not going your way purposefully right now. It's not to mess you up. It's not because of anything negative. Allow things not going your way and shit hitting the fan to serve you positively, I'm hearing. You have made a statement to get out of the brambles. The brambles are being magnified for you to understand what needs to be removed. What are you still tugged in? What is still attached? We put the magnifying glass and we say, oh, that bramble is still attached to my sock. Let's put it out. That's kind of the energy I'm getting. It's like all of this shit is being magnified so as to assist you into better understanding and into letting it go eventually. And the Three of Pentacles, I feel, is just a beautiful conclusion. It's just like doors. For some reason, I'm hearing doors here. Just you seeing doors and seeing new opportunities and new doors. I just feel like because of the process that you, Pawan, are going through, it feels like the world has collapsed onto itself energetically from your perspective. It feels like there are so little opportunities and it's so unlikely for it to get any better. And what I'm hearing is like, trust me, I know what you're going through. You will see the doors opening up and you will see... Oh, another thing just before we say that. All the opportunities... I feel like I'm talking to myself really right now, but that's okay. It's like all the opportunities that you're currently seeing around you, you're not taking them at all because they don't feel any better than what you have. It just feels like you're in fear, and all the opportunities that are presenting themselves around you, they feel like shit coping mechanisms almost. The example is like, I feel financially insecure and the opportunities of job that I'm receiving are shit. They're not good, and I know it. So yeah, sure, it would help me cope with my fear, but I know I'm gonna regret it very, very quickly. So it's like, it feels like we're playing between two fires. It feels like every opportunity that is opening up, they're not real opportunities. And that's ending. It's like, once you shift, because the biggest shift happening right now is you. It's not your reality. It's not what's going on around you. It's not your job. It's not your relationship. It's not your career. It's not your health. That's not where the shift is happening. That's not where the power is. It's very much within you. And it's like all of these new doors are opening, but doors you had no clue, not even a remote idea existed in the first place. Because they belong to a completely new state of being, because they belong to a new paradigm, because they belong to a new way of seeing the world that you didn't have. It's like the day you see them, you will realize, oh, it felt easy all along, but it's like, yes, ultimately, it will always be easy once you have the answer, but that's not the point of it. It's like, it's you expanding. How can I better translate it? I just feel like, you know, when we're observing through the lenses of fear, the only thing we're going to be perceiving is fear. So even if the opportunity comes about to help us get out of a situation that we do not prefer, we wouldn't even be perceiving it. And that's very much what I'm hearing is like all of these beautiful opportunities today you cannot even dream of because you are not in the right space, in the mind space. You're not in the right state of being. Not to say that there is a right or wrong, but you're not in the preferred state of being. That's why this is happening. But your doors are waiting for you. It's like another message that most of you are already aware of, but needs to be said anyways for those who are still awakening to it. It's like some of you, I feel like, are waiting for divine timing to turn in your favor. Stop waiting. The universe, like everything's already prepared, and if you are honest with yourself, you would realize that some of these opportunities you have already yourself put down out of fear, out of insecurity, out of unworthiness, out of all these things. It's like you're not waiting on the world. The universe is waiting onto you. And it's not to put any pressure, but it's just for you to understand that right now, energetically, you're like into a cocoon. into the chrysalid, transforming for, is this a chrysalid? I hope so. When like a worm becomes a caterpillar becomes a butterfly, turns to a butterfly. The state in between, like the cocoon. I believe it's chrysalid in English as well. But anyways, it feels like you're in the chrysalid. It's like you are in a cocoon, it's dark, your body is getting dissolved so as to be reconstructing into a new shape, a new form with wings. It's like, yeah, eventually you're gonna fly. Eventually you're gonna realize that you are going to be seeing the very things you used, the very environment you used to navigate before as a caterpillar. Now you're gonna be flying and zooming over it. But right now you're in the step where you're getting dissolved in your cocoon, so to speak. So it's like, it feels like you are protected and very nurtured and guided, because that's very much what you need right now as you are purging and transforming all of these things. But at the same time, yes, there is a lot of uncomfort, there is a lot of growing pains coming with it. But the whole point is, the caterpillar cannot even imagine what it's like to be flying. Why? Because the caterpillar isn't the butterfly just yet. And that's very much the energy I'm getting, is you have no idea what's ahead of you, and that's okay. You just need to understand that right now, re-own the power, take the power back into your own hands and have patience. No, you're not waiting until the world to smile back at you. The world already is. It has been decided with your higher self, with you, unconsciously most likely, that you want it to be better, a better version of yourself, as in a happier version, a more loving, a more abundant, a more open. You want it more. And so you're transforming, and so right now you're in the chrysalid. The world's gonna change as soon as you tell it to. But right now, the focus is onto you. All the world is doing right now is assisting you. As soon as you're done with it, it's yours. That's why, like, the biggest message right now is, first of all, how much compassion and pride there is on behalf of your higher self, for you to have the courage to give up on an old life that didn't work for you, and that a lot of people around you still choose, and still may be choosing for a long time, to have the courage to detach from that, to transform, to have the courage to look at yourself in the mirror and be face to face with your inner demons, so as to eventually get what you want. That is a remarkable display of strength, of maturity as well, has to be said. A remarkable show of, yeah, courage and just resilience. It's beautiful, and there is so much compassion, so much pride, again, in what you're doing. So it's very much like a keep going, because honestly, that is well worth it. That is already a very long reading. I had these two other cards. I guess they kind of make sense now, though. Well, I'm gonna, since it's already like a long reading, we're not gonna like waste too much time on them, but Conqueror of Wounds and Death. I mean, it's pretty darn literally what we just discussed. Death, I love this card, by the way, is literally transformation. You decided to let go of the shit. It smelled like shit, it looked like shit, because it was shit, and you're letting it go. And you're inviting the new, and right now you're transforming, but this transformation comes with the dissolving of your caterpillar body. It comes with all of these things getting dissolved, getting surrendered. It comes with a lot of chaos. So that is your sign. Is like, the shittiest it gets, the most uncomfortable it is, arguably, the more you know that it's happening. Conqueror of Wands is just like what you're aiming for and what you would actually open up to, which is just an unlimited amount of passion, just you powerfully reconnecting with your heart and just following your heart's desires and living your life based off passion and excitement and love. Such a beautifully high frequency, which is yours to claim. And you're just removing what's in the way. So that is beautiful. Okay, pile number one. That was a lot. Got a sour throat now. Thank you so much for having shared space with me today. That was a lovely reading. What a freaking energy, honestly, pile number one. And congratulations on that. Keep on going, because you're doing freaking amazing. And oh my god, at the end of the road, you will see how freaking worth it was, honestly. But yeah, please let me know down in the comments how it went for you. What are your thoughts? How did you feel throughout this reading? I'd be very curious, especially considering how much information went through. I'm definitely gonna have to watch this back. I'd love to be connecting with you. And yeah, that being said, I'm gonna be seeing you in my next reading. Until then, take care. Take care of yourself, yeah. And yeah, I'm gonna be seeing you there. Bye. Hey, Panda number 2, how are you doing? You're up on stage. I hope you're doing great. I hope you're sitting, lying comfortably, standing comfortably, whatever. If part 2 you chose the red jasper, that's gonna be your reading, so let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. Okay, little disclaimer, I don't know if you can hear my window trembling. We've been having some pretty darn strong winds all day long, so if you do hear it, my apologies. I don't know if the mic picks up on it, but anyways. That being said, pile number 2, what do your higher self want you to know? This one I saw. Come on. This 3. Yoop. Let's see. Okay, pile number 2. What positive, what uplifting, what nice, cool message does the higher self wants us to be hearing? We got the Queen of Swords, we got the Moon, we got the Judgment, we got the Sun. Okay, that's a lot straight off the bat. I'm gonna put it here. Got the Ace of Wands and the Page of Swords, which pops up again. My god, some big energies at work. We got 3 major arcanas, including both the Sun and the Moon. Well, okay, that's a lot. It honestly feels like you are currently working towards a big achievement. Yeah, it feels like you're working on a project, working on something that you cherish, something that you truly desire, something that really sparks that flame within you. I don't get anything specific, whether that's a relationship, like buying a house or a car, or something in career, or something in friendships, or whatever, or a wedding. I don't get anything specific just yet, but there is like some pride here in what you're doing and how you're doing it, especially because I'm hearing that like this project started off as just a project of you wanting to do something, wanting to experience something, wanting to achieve something, but who you are becoming through the seeking of this goal, and who you've become and who you choose to be, is also something which is very remarkable. I feel like there's a lot of integrity straight off the bat that I can tell. Yeah, a lot of integrity. It's like the Queen of Swords is definitely indicating me that there is a lot of like you putting in the work on the daily, it feels like, and however it applies, because again, it may not be work related, quote unquote, at all, but I feel like you showing up to it every day, you showing up to it on a very regular basis, is something remarkable. You really like, also like with the Queen of Swords, I just feel like knowing one's worth, knowing that you can do it, believing in oneself, and just doing, again, is a very, what would be the best word to describe that? Very disciplined, I feel, but also like from an energy of someone who believes in themselves and knows their worth. It's very beautiful, very strong energy, but the feminine is also coming through, especially with the moon next to it. And the fact it's a queen, it's like there's this sensation of just going with it, and the fact that your project somehow was requiring discipline and forward moving and perhaps planning and yeah, just believing in a project, which are mostly masculine characteristics. But it's the beautiful thing is that you never gave up on the feminine part of it, on the sensibility, on the sensitivity, sorry, the receptiveness, the beingness. There's this feeling of people seeking a similar goal could have very easily given up on their heart. It feels like, because it feels like this project started as a heart inspired, in a heart inspiration, a heart desire, something like that. And honestly, most would have given up on the heart by this point, I feel. But you've just stuck with it. You just kept it. There's this sensation of moving forward with integrity, as in it's not so much about what you get in the end, but who you are while you're getting it. There's something about integrity. I don't know, it's a little vague. I don't know how it applies, but the energy I'm receiving is very much the fact that in your situation, most would have given up on integrity for one reason or another. It really depends on what is the actual project that you've been pursuing. So whatever comes to mind is probably that. But there is this thing of you just didn't give up on who you are. So you didn't bother trying to fit in. And that is the most beautiful thing, honestly, the most remarkable thing. With the moon is like, here it's related to the inner world. Is making me feel like one example, and again, it may absolutely not be about your case, but the idea, I'm going to be using this example as a metaphor. It's like someone who's wanting to start a self-led entrepreneur style business, who wants to sell stuff because they've just had an idea and it may work, and anyways they need to bring in the money, and you see that they're very like, their approach is very like business, very marketing. There's nothing wrong with that at all, obviously. And like very much this, I need to build it and I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna be focusing on what my clients need, and this very typical traditional masculine approach. And then there's the person who just goes as in, I am feeling inspired to start this business and I already know what I'm going to be offering my clients because that's who I am. That's just what I have to share with the world. And I'm okay with me having to fine tune it and it perhaps taking a little bit longer because of the fact that I'm not going about the traditional way. But I just know it matters to me. It's very much more holistic energy, if you get what I mean. I hope it makes sense because again, it feels a little vague on my part, on my behalf. So I really do hope that on yours it does make sense. The Judgment card, I also do find interesting here. There is again this sensation of not doing, like going against the grain somehow. Because like in this card, it feels like like the figure's been hurt, but the figure is gigantic as well. It's like it's piercing through the clouds. It feels like a very powerful, almost menacing figure which has been hurt, and so it's like, oh my god, are they coming as a vengeful? Is it a vengeful thing? Is it something we need to be scared of? It's like, what's going on? It creates a lot of insecurity, I feel, in this card, because it's very much like, well, you can't be messing around now. It is very much the message of the Judgment in general is, it's God's turn now. What you've been doing, you'll pay, in good and bad. And in this situation, it really does feel like there is a huge, there's almost anger in wanting to affirm one's boundaries and purposefully wanting to go against the grain, not because of being a rebel, but just because it matters to you to do it your way. It's more like you not wanting to give up on yourself. It's very much like this. And in this very bold move, which is just an act of self-love, there you go, I kind of feel that it was not received this way by everyone around you. I feel like the people who would have been around you were not unanimously supportive at first. Some may have had doubts, some may have told you, no, you should be doing it this other way, or perhaps it's a beautiful dream that you got, but you're gonna have to give up on some of the fine details that you're very caring about because it's quote unquote not gonna work. And it's just like, no, that's how this dream was born in my heart. That's how it's gonna happen. I do not dream of things which aren't possible, otherwise I wouldn't be dreaming them. It wouldn't be a thing in my heart. There's very much this energy of I'm not gonna give up to please anyone else. I'm not gonna give up on myself in order to fit in. And yeah, there is this sense of anger and wanting to affirm one's boundaries. And that is definitely something that I feel generally a lot of pride from your higher self. It's like your higher self just sits down and it's like you're doing what you know you gotta do. And the way you're doing, as in from a self-loving perspective, from a perspective of someone who doesn't give up on themselves, although it may feel a little challenging at times, that is beautiful, that is remarkable, that is impressive. And there is a lot of things to be celebrated just for that. And there is also, with the Judgment card, this sensation of fear that may be inspired within people. Oh, I'm getting it. I don't know where you are on the timeline, but I'm picking up on the timeline. I'm going to be describing it, and then you'll see whether it's actually already happening for you or if that's something which is about to happen. But it very much feels like there were people who were doubting. I'm getting the energy of take a woman athlete that wants to compete for the Olympic Games, and that would be told off as in, oh, you're a woman, you're not gonna do it. That would obviously piss you off if you're a woman. If you're not a woman, it still applies. That's just an example, obviously, but like a woman being met with some like misogynist remarks or things of that kind, and just that woman going on and just doing it, and that in the end inspiring a lot of fear and within the people who were not supportive at the beginning, that realized that they would have known better than to try to put down someone who would be this successful in the end. And it's kind of the energy I'm getting. It's like someone starting on a project and just being told off. And I feel like some of people around you may have been supportive, but that's not the energy I'm picking up on right now. It's very much like you wanted to do something and you just received this, like you were not supported, and you just received the message of you're not gonna make it, and just you making it, and that triggering the shit out of the people who didn't support you in the first place. There is a sensation of installing fear somehow within the people who didn't support you and try to put like sticks into your wheels to begin with, as if the thing that this, as if the wand, the stake, the whatever that this figure is holding was the thing that people would have put into the figure's wheels at the start, and they just took it out, and now they're the figure is menacing to throw at them, you know? It's like somehow there's this sensation of someone not being supported, making it anyways the way they intended into making it, and being successful this way. And now the people who were not supportive, they're trying to avoid you all of a sudden because they're afraid. They're triggered. They're very uncomfortable in your presence all of a sudden. So that feels like a bit of a vengeance, but it does also feel like the energy of the Judgment card, which is you get what you deserve in the end. You know, it's like if you wanted to mess with someone, that's okay, but you're going to realize you're going to be paying the consequences of wanting to mess with someone. You're going to be learning that wanting to mess with someone is not a nice energy. So when you get it back in your face, because you always get back what you put out, right? Well, you get a taste of your own medicine, and you realize that perhaps that's not what you prefer. Everybody learns one way or another, right? But from ego's perspective, it very much feels like a bit of a sweet vengeance. And it very much feels good, you know, it's like, there you go, and now what? What are you gonna do now? Now that I've succeeded in your face, now I'm standing proud and successful in your face, now I'm standing gorgeous and bright in your face, what are you gonna do now? There's very much this energy, which I love. But again, it's very much like despite the challenges, you didn't give up on yourself. And that is the most remarkable thing. And then like these three other cards, they just feel like a celebration, honestly, of who you've become along the way, honestly. Like the sun is just the celebration, most positive card in tarot, arguably. It's just all's good. It's fun. You're dancing in the light. You are the spotlight. You are successful. You are joyful. And things couldn't have turned out in a better way. Although it felt challenging, although it felt confusing, although sometimes it felt unknown, in the end, it's just the best thing that could have happened actually happened. It ended up happening all like it did. So it's just like a celebration of you not giving up on yourself. And it just ends up in, yeah, this overwhelming amount of positivity, which is beautiful. The Ace of Wands, here there's a lot of passion coming through. It feels like this thing you've been working towards, now it's opening, now it's happening. And it feels like it's opening a whole new chapter in your life, one which is based off passion, which is based off positivity, one which is very far from the perspective that the people you were around and doubted you are in. So yet again, it's like here it's just like the clash between all the beautiful frequency that you are today and who you've become along the way. Honestly, as I was saying at the beginning, it's like this beautiful, radiant, full of light, love and passion, full of life person that you are now back in comparison, because I feel like you end up meeting them after. Just you meet them and you're like, it's just like you do not belong to the same world anymore, which is so fascinating. Like I really get somehow, again, I was speaking of a timeline before. Some of you may still be working towards it. Some of you may just have seen the unfolding of the situation. I don't know where you are on this story, and all of you may be on a bit of a similar position, of a similar point, but at some point you end up meeting these very people who doubted you at the beginning, just as a way to close a cycle in a way, and to show it, like I'm hearing from your higher self, is just to show you how freaking badass you are. That's the only purpose for you to see these people. There is no purpose in just you telling them that you made it, because they already know it. Your success speaks for itself. Your overwhelming amount of joy speaks for itself. There is no need for words. The reason to why you end up seeing them again, if it hasn't already happened again, is just for you to be back with the people you started it with, and to see how far away you have drifted from one another, how wildly your worlds and your frequencies today are, how much you've grown, basically, to realize that your life is so much better than theirs in your eyes, that you feel so much happier than they would ever today. And yeah, just a beautiful way to see like how much you've grown and that they haven't changed. It just feels like a sweet vengeance of the ego, but also, which is very cute and very fun in and of itself, but also like just a way for your higher self a way for you to show to yourself how worth it was and how much of a badass you are, and the fact that you can do it all. So beautiful lesson in and of itself. But yeah, that is very interesting, very curious. I would love to know down in the comments, what is this project that I've been picking up on now, because it really does feel like it's very important to you. So yeah, that is very, very fascinating. I got a few, like 2 oracle cards that we had at the beginning. Got boundaries and destruction. Yeah, I kind of feel, yeah, it kind of makes sense. Like boundaries with the armadillo and the destruction card. Boundaries and destruction, I feel like in this case work hand in hand, because it was very much like down to the main theme of it. Your higher self seems to be indicating here is like you were very much focused on the goal, but the biggest lesson that you've been learning is who you've become, and It was about you letting go of other people's opinions, of other people's paradigms, of other people's ideas of you, setting healthy boundaries and destroying everything which is in the way. It's like they came both hand in hand, removing everything which is no longer working, removing them temporarily for, removing them, I feel, for good from your life, and just seeing them again later down the line, just to have this fun realization, destroying anything which is in the way, and at the same time creating these super strong healthy boundaries for yourself, for you to realize that you can have anything you want while being yourself, which is the most beautiful way to go about it, really. So again, it's like your higher self is just so proud of you. And even if you're not at the point of the story where you are successful, quote unquote, however it looks like in your scenario, whatever this goal is, I genuinely feel that there is so much pride in just you being bold enough to follow your heart and to follow through with it, because many would have given up already on the project itself, and many would have given up on doing it in a way which is whole, which is in a way of integrity. I don't know how to structure my sentence right there, but it's like this notion of integrity, that you're doing it with the whole of you, that you're doing it with all of you. That is very remarkable, and that's something worth celebrating. So if you haven't been celebrating too much about how much progress you've made, that would be a good time to do it after this video, however it looks like, training yourself. But yeah, that is a fascinating reading, to say the least. Thank you so much for having shared space with me today. That was a lovely reading. I would, as I just said, please let me know down in the comments how it went for you, if it resonated, especially what is this project. I'm curious now, as in, that's the biggest thing I wanted to know, but I feel that I can't, because everybody's got a different project. So I would be very curious to know about that. And yeah, just celebrate yourself, honestly. Be proud of yourself. See how much of a badass you are for having gone through it. And celebrate yourself again and again and again, because you freaking deserve it. That was awesome. I'm gonna be seeing you in my next video. Till then. And yeah, take care. Sending you lots of love. And have a good one. Bye. Hey, pal number 3, how are you doing? You're up on stage, it's your turn. How are you doing? I hope you're doing great. I hope you're comfortable. If part 3 you chose this beautiful Labradorite moonstone, that's gonna be a reading. So let's get right into it. Okay, so part number 3, what messages can we be expecting from the higher self? Uplifting, beautiful messages. What messages from the higher self? We got the Page of Wands, we got the Four of Swords. I like it. Got these 2 ones. Yup. And maybe another one. We got the Page of Cups, the 8 of Wands. I like it too. These are too many cards. I'm gonna pick this one. Okay, and the 5 of Cups. Okay, that's interesting. So, what do we have here? What do we have here? There are a lot of new beginnings, I feel. Oh, about something that happened, actually. And it feels like this time, better late than ever, I actually got a more specific situation, sorry. It feels like it deals with a relationship. Again, as always, if you're on this reading, it may not be your case, it may not be about a relationship, but I truly feel that most of you partnering on this call, it deals with a relationship that ended in a way that you did not prefer, that left you a little bit teary, that left you a little bit sad, that there's been some grieving, but you've gone over it or are getting over it. If that's the case, you're in the finishing stages. There you go. And there's a lot of beautiful stuff happening, I feel. But there's definitely a lot of compassion, a lot of pride in you getting over that and opening up yourself to this. It feels like you were in this relationship. Yeah, I'm very much strongly sensing a relationship of a kind. Not necessarily romantic, although it very well could be. But a relationship that you had with somebody, and this relationship wasn't, it served you well for the time it lasted, but there was like, you were ready to move on. And because there were like some things that were a little up with this relationship, I'm feeling like your sense of identity was a little entangled with this person, as in you struggled putting boundaries. I mean, you struggled identifying what was them, what was you. There was a little bit of confusion, a little bit of, it was a bit smoky there. As in, it felt like you used this relationship and this person to define yourself as well. Which there's nothing wrong with that, but I feel that this is one of the reasons to why it ended in eventually, because it's like, I feel that you're ready to move on, you're ready to grow past that point, and so this relationship needed to end. I just feel like some people, perhaps there was a bit of guilt or a bit of shame involved in the ending of this relationship, but just like knowing it's a quick message, because I feel like this is already something you've been thinking about. You've already been putting your heart and your head onto it. But since it's popping up again, this relationship needed to come to an end because it was no longer serving the both of you. It's like you both have grown up, you both have expanded, and you both started wanting to explore new themes in life and needing new things, and it just wasn't a match anymore. It has nothing to do, it's like, I feel like it wasn't personal, although it could have been appearing personal. There could have been some mean words exchanged, possibly, not necessarily, because I feel that, yeah, you left this relationship a little bit with a broken heart, but just knowing that this relationship needed to end at some point, so you're not missing out on anything now that it has ended. But yeah, it feels like the ending of this relationship has really freed up a lot of room, a lot of space, a lot of time, a lot of energy, especially for the exploration of yourself. Because we got 2 pages which are like a rebirth, a renewal, the opening of new themes. And here we got the Page of Wands, here we got the Page of Cups, around the 4 of Swords, which to me just feels like it's ever since you've been grieving, that I can tell. With the 5 of Cups, it's very much the card of grieving. But past that point, it's very much like it's been a new beginning in your life. Whether wanted or not at first, it was a new beginning, a you chapter, a season about you, a season about discovering what lights you up, a season about discovering who you are and how you feel and what's your inner world and how you identify yourself. It really feels like a you season which has opened up, which may have been a little tough at first to embrace, but I can feel that by the days you're growing more and more into it. You're realizing that, yeah, it's enjoyable to fall in love with oneself. And that's very much like one theme that seems to be going on is to be in love with this person, not necessarily romantically, although again, there is this option. It could have been romantic love, it could have been just you loving this person as a close relative, versus you right now falling in love with yourself because you're starting to discover who you are by yourself without having to rely on to someone else to help you define yourself. So yeah, there is the discovering of what lights you up, discovering of who you are within, and there's a lot of peace, honestly, that comes through with the 4 of Swords. It's like, I really love the imagery of this card. It's like the swords are all very still with the lotus flowers. It feels like very meditative. I very much enjoy this card. And I feel that there's a lot of peace. Like this grief has left place to peace. In there's a sense of peace that comes with you discovering yourself. I feel like there is a lot of answers which have come to you, that this relationship wasn't allowing you to have the space and the time to be able to receive these answers about yourself. And I just feel like it was very much needed, although it would not prefer it at first. Again, okay, we already said it, there was some grieving involved, definitely. I can tell that the more time passes and the more you realize how better you feel. It's like, yeah, it needed to end, and as a result, you get to grow more yourself, to grow more in love with yourself, and there's this sense of peace and tranquility and stillness that is starting to emanate from you as a result of you being you and you knowing who you are. Again, this peace seems to be coming from the fact that you're starting to have many more answers about yourself than you ever have, and so your mind is like relaxing because that's it is satiated with the knowledge it wanted, so to speak. And the 8 of Wands, it indicated me that there has been a lot of pace and a lot of good news and a lot of good stuff happening ever since you left this person, ever since this relationship ended. Because since you were having much more time by yourself, I feel like you perhaps starting going out more, perhaps starting taking care of yourself more, starting reconnecting with friends. I feel like your life has been more active ever since, and it has brought a lot of positive things into your life. Perhaps you could have been perhaps you could have been getting into sports, back into sports. Perhaps you could have been installing new routines into your life. It just feels like, yeah, a you season. And it feels like it has served you tremendously and that you are growing happier by the days. And that's very much like the conclusion to that is very much like the pride of your higher self in the fact that, my God, you got through it. You thought you wouldn't, but you got through it. And that is very much impressive and worth celebrating in and of itself. And everything that emanated from the situation, everything which sprang from the situation is just fantastic. I'm feeling it's like you've never been as happy as you are today. And that is worth celebrating as well, because sure, it wasn't always easy, but you made it, and you made it stronger than ever and much happier than ever, much more loving, much more excited, much more inspired about life. So it turned out very, very well, I'm feeling. And that is something that you are invited to see and be proud about, I'm hearing. Because that's worth celebrating in and of itself. And that is very, very beautiful. Yeah. Definitely a lot of compassion for all the grief which has been going on, and having the backstory of this is like seeing everything you made out of it is just so, wow, so beautiful. We gotta be. Woo! I love bees. We got soul work and release. Release, quite literally, especially that it laid itself on top of the 5 of Cups. It's like releasing everything that was in the way was really very much the door to you becoming all of this, to you starting to enjoy all of this. I genuinely feel that you're starting to see that, if you're not already seeing it, that's something you're coming to realization right now, is how much this release was sure painful but very much needed, and how much it served you and how much room it opened up. That itself was like a portal. And I'm hearing a very specific message for a few of you, not for all, but perhaps you may be someone who benefits from clearing out stuff. Perhaps something that you could benefit from, if that is something you feel inspired by, would be to declutter your physical environment. As in, starting to, you know, like give away and get rid of the stuff that you no longer use, that is just taking up space in your living environment. That's a very specific message for very few of you, but that's coming through. Because I feel that you getting rid of stuff energetically is opening up room for more. But the most interesting card I'm seeing is this one, Soul Work, because like, I love the bees. I already said that. There is this energy of community and soul work, quite literally, as in through this process you are opening up to your tribe, I feel. Since you are getting to know yourself, since you are falling in love with yourself, since you're coming back to yourself, you are aligning with the people who are quote unquote like you. You know, when we say your vibe attracts your tribe. Well, how are you supposed to try to attract your tribe if you are not aware of what your vibe is, if you haven't been exploring it? Your tribe, quote unquote, the people around you are always just reflecting the energy you're putting out, you know? So you falling in love with yourself is very much like opening you up, if not already, to the experience of feeling like you belong in a circle, feeling like you belong with a group of friends, feeling like you belong in a social, part of a social something, feeling like it's your tribe. There's a feeling of like feeling at home, recognizing yourself in the people that you got around you. And that's very much a blessing in and of itself. But soul work, I also feel like somehow the situation is related to you opening up to your to what makes you feel purposeful. I don't have any precisions onto how, but somehow it's related. I feel most of you have already felt that on top of it, I feel. It's like this situation has opened so much room in your inner exploration and yada yada yada. It just feels like it's been the starting point of you really starting to feel deep down the calling for what you want to do with your life. Now that you've been thinking so much about yourself and what you want to do, you know, out of your days, with your energy, with the people around you, there's this sensation of, oh, I feel so inspired to do this. There is this calling, there is this lead which has been woven from your heart. So there's a very exciting thing. I don't have much information on that because I feel like this is a very personal story which is going to be wildly different from person to person, but it definitely needs to be thrown out there. It's like two major blessings coming out of the situation just for you to enjoy just the fruits of your hard work, besides just you falling in love with yourself, which is a beautiful thing in and of itself, is you connecting with like-minded people, like-hearted people, and also you starting to really tune into that which excites you the most, that which makes you feel the most purposeful, that which you want to use your days and your time for. So that is beautiful. That is very exciting. Thank you so much for having shared space with me today. That was a lovely reading, to say the least. Please let me know down in the comments how it went for you, if it resonated. What is this project about? If you already got an idea, I'd love to know your thoughts. I'd love to be connecting with you. Yeah, if you already know what inspires you, I'd love to know that. And anyways, I'm sending you so much love, and I invite you again to be proud of yourself, to take the time to realize how far you've come and how worth celebrating that is. And that being said, I'm going to be seeing you in my next video. Till then, take care, and I'm going to see you there. Bye.